Just woke up from a nap, so I figured why not film this video for you guys. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So as you can see from the title, I'm going to be giving you guys some storytime vids of when I went to Camp Calye 2019. So since I asked you guys this on my Instagram and you guys really wanted me to do this, so I might as well do this video for you guys. So I guess enough blabbering, I'm going to get started on day 1 of Camp Calye 2019. So first of all, just like last year, we had to meet up at McDonald's staff, and there was when we had to meet up with our facilitators so that we can be designated into our respective transport vehicles. In this case, there were buses going to the campsite, which this year is at Quest Adventure Camp. At this point, I had no sleep at all because I was still in the middle of school at this time, but then I wanted to go to camp anyway. So then anyway, the reason why I had no sleep is because I was finishing some last little requirements before I had to leave, one of which was my freaking short film for MIL.
Fight!
Fuck you! Go! Let's go! Yeah, so I figured with I think the 3-hour bus ride going to Quest Adventure Camp, I might as well use that time to sleep, at least for once. But anyways, once we got to the actual campsite, just some of the usual routines were there. We gathered as a team for the first time, and then we had to register and have our bags checked and stuff. Fun fact, the bag I used last year, in fact this is the bag that I actually brought to camp, they of course had to check that we weren't bringing anything dangerous to the camp, because we wanted to be sure that we weren't bringing anything that can harm either the fellow campmates or even ourselves, right? It's the same bag I used this year. Once we all had our bags checked and stuff, we were then told to meet up at the little pavilion area, which is the place we're going to have our meals and stuff. Okay, to be completely honest, these last few hours of settling down with my teammates and eating breakfast and waiting for the first main activity to start, it was pretty not that how do I say this? Not that exciting, I'll be completely honest. Me and my teammates were all together, and then we did basic introductions, but then at some point while waiting for the next activity to start, we all were just in our table, just sitting together but not even talking most of the time. So yeah, that seemed pretty awkward from the get-go. So then, after at some point, finally, the real first activity was going to be starting. Yeah, we had our first worship session of the camp this year, and second, we had our first talk this year. Actually, I think I'm going to do the same thing as my last year's camp storytime videos, which is on the last day's storytime video. I think I could give a summary of some of the talks I heard there, just for you guys in case you weren't at camp this year. I got you. But I will say this, first talk of camp, first day, even though that place was so hot, I legit got chills all over my skin, throwing down all my what now. That's how good, no not good, great the talk was. The next thing that we did was lunch first, and then we finally were able to settle down in our tents, which, by the way, comment about the tents. The location of where the tents were was pretty hard to get to. It almost seemed like that in itself was supposed to be the next activity. Activity number 2 of camp.
Get to your tents!
Okay, the girls' tent area was not as challenging to get to. But then with us, the guys' tent area, we had to go down these stairs that weren't even they didn't even look like they were fully built. So then there were points that we had to really be careful where we stepped, or else we were going to be slipping and maybe getting some splinters here and there. And then we had to go over top these grass and stuff and go down a small hill of grass, and we finally reached the tents. We were actually told to change already, because then after lunch and settling down our bags and our tents was going to be finally the first physical activity where we're going to be around the campsite. So yeah, a lot of us got dressed into workout clothes and stuff, and then headed off onto the main activity area of Quest Adventure Camp. Now, going on to the activities, I'll be completely honest, a lot of these were pretty fun. The first little activity that we did was that there was this little seesaw thing, and the goal was that all of the team members had to be on the balance team seesaw thing, without it like, you know, tilting off and stuff. Oh, another thing I forgot to mention, these activities required a lot of teamwork, which has of course been like, I guess, what do you call this, ongoing thing whenever I go to camp. There's always the one little day where we have the team building activities, which is great in itself, I'll be honest. Another activity we did was, I believe this was actually the last thing we did. There was like this really tall wall and there was just a rope hanging, and then the goal was we all had to climb the freaking rope and get on to the top of the wall. And I actually went to a Quest Adventure Camp for Camp Calye with my batchmates. Like, I think it was over a month before camp or a couple weeks before camp or something. I don't know how I was able to do it during Camp Calye, but during camp this year I was actually having a hard time getting up the wall that my teammates had to like push me up, because this boy has
no upper arm strength.
This boy has no upper arm strength, and I am not Spider-Man. Tom Holland would not be proud of me. I'm pretty much just like Raven in that one episode of That's a Raven. Anyways, after my teammates and I were finished all of the activities, we were finally able to have the chance to take a shower after a long day at Quest Adventure Camp. After a long day of doing all these activities. Another comment on the shower areas. Here's the thing though. When we finished the activities, it was already like getting so dark, and I figured the shower areas would have lights. That's the first thing. The shower areas had no lights. At least in our case that day, we didn't find any lights. So a lot of us just had to use our flashlights. And another thing is that the showers aren't like in, you know, private rooms where you just, you know, have a, well, not necessarily private rooms. There's more, it wasn't like the fast camps where it have to be like in a little booth thing and you can lock it closed. No, in this one, they almost look like small tents, and yeah, there were no locks. And there might have been a few accidental peeks when I was trying to find a booth. But at least, as I said, it was dark, so I saw nothing. So after all the teams were done showering, it was then finally time for us to be called for dinner. And then afterwards, we were then called once again for the last time, for that night at least, to the gathering pavilion. And there, we had like one little worship session for a bit, and then another, we had like a little quick talk, if I'm not mistaken. And there, we were again given the like little reflection question, which is then to be carried on to the next little activity we did, which is a little circle time LG thing for our individual teams. Why on earth am I doing this with my hands? Yeah, my teammates and I, we found our own little location in the camp. There we like, you know, gathered together, reflected on the next little question, which I think that I'll also be talking about on my day 4 Storytime video, so stay tuned for that. Anyways, and then yeah, that was pretty much the end of day 1.